Welcome to Makeup Therapy Day 15. So today is one palette. When I initially thought of one palette, the intention at the time was just to only use one palette on my eyes because I tend to mix. But I'm going to try to do my whole face with one palette. So I decided to try the Too Faced Chocolate Gold just because it has, it all came down to this one shade right here. So Rolling in the Dough, because I'm going to try to use that as like a powder foundation. So this is going to be interesting. I'm just going to jump right in. I'm super tired. I haven't been filming partly because my boyfriend has been home from work, but also just because I've been so tired and I've been sleeping crazy hours. So I will sleep from like 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. and wake up until 9 a.m. and then go back to sleep until 1 p.m. and then be up for a couple of hours and be ready to go back to sleep. So today I drank a bunch of caffeine. I drank a bunch of cold brew after not drinking caffeine hardly at all for the last probably month and a half, because the first thing I try to reduce when I'm having a lot of anxiety is my caffeine. So since I haven't been able to stay awake, I decided I was going to have caffeine, which means that I just feel kind of weird now. But I also really want to get this recorded. I did nothing with my hair because I don't anticipate this being amazing. I'm really going to try to come up with a good look, but I also am prepared to just go get in the shower and wash this off as soon as I'm done. We're just going to go in. I'm going to start out with Rolling in the Dough. This is the Airbrush Smoothing Foundation number 102 from It Cosmetics for Ulta. And Rolling in the Dough is probably going to be a little light, and this is not, I mean it's an eyeshadow. I'm not expecting it to give me good coverage. Fortunately I have fairly decent skin, so I'm just hoping it's going to maybe help even it out a little bit. This brush is so soft, it feels really nice. My battery died. Fortunately it made a loud shutter click, so I noticed it right away. Like as it was happening, I got a little bit of the powder from this eyeshadow in my mouth, and it tastes like cocoa powder. So it has real cocoa in it, but getting eyeshadow in your mouth isn't usually something that would be a pleasant experience, and it was. It tastes really good, which is probably not actually that great of a thing. People should not be eating their makeup. I'm sure there are plenty of other things in here that I do not want to be ingesting. I've been just having a difficult time with being able to stay awake and do the things that I want to do. Oh, this is, I didn't even think about my under eyes. This is going to give me literally no coverage. So yesterday I went to the doctor and had a bunch of blood drawn and got some of the results back today, and my vitamin D is still really low. I'm going to use cocoa truffle for my eyebrows, and then this is just some old brush. I think this was maybe an elf brush. I don't know. It's old. It doesn't have any writing on it anymore. So I don't use brow powder, so this is going to be an interesting first time using powder to do O, and this is so much more orange than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to look like a crazy person when this is done, but that's okay. So I don't get really any sunlight because I hate going outside and I burn really easy. So I have really low vitamin D, and everything else so far seems okay. So I am going to be starting back on I take a prescription dose of vitamin D, and even with a prescription dose, it still is not clearly doing as much as it needs to be doing. So hopefully that will resolve itself soon, because generally this is the time of year when my vitamin D is the best, because we're at the end of summer and it's when I've gotten some sun, but I've just had so many issues with depression and anxiety this year and not wanting to be outside or hardly even out of bed that I have not been able to get any of the natural vitamin D that a person gets. So, and it's also probably, I crave dairy products, and it's probably part of the reason why, because dairy products usually have vitamin D added to them and have some vitamin D to begin with. So I'm sure that that has some effect on it. This is going to be disastrous, and I'm only on step 2. Okay, maybe, no, they look crazy in the viewfinder too. I thought maybe from a little ways away they wouldn't look so crazy, but they do. This actually, if somebody was a redhead, I think this would work out really well for brow powder. I know a couple of redheads that are always looking for something to match. I'll have to let them know that they can just use some cocoa powder makeup. Okay, so I'm gonna stop there before I make it any worse. They're okay-ish. They're a little angry and a little too warm, but they're there and they're all right. I probably should have just left them alone. So I'm just gonna go in with just a large eyeshadow brush. I'm gonna go into So Bougie and just lay down a base. Not using any kind of eyeshadow primer is also very weird. This is just a weird experience. The doctor also gave me a new medication for my migraines, so that's pretty exciting. Like, anytime I can try something new. And then she also said that if things don't get better with the sleeping, she's gonna have me do a sleep study. And I imagine that's probably where we're gonna end up, since I've been having these issues for most of my life and I don't see them just magically getting better. Yeah, I'm gonna go in with my crease shader. I'm gonna go into Decadent, which is the black, and just go out in this outer V. I probably should have laid down a piece of tape, but if I had, it also would have absolutely caused this too. Like, it would have just lifted up anything that I laid down as an attempt to have an initial base, so it's fine. I am not gonna go too crazy with my eye look, because then it's just gonna make it more obvious that I don't have mascara on, because I don't have anything in here that I feel like I can use as mascara. I am gonna try to do lips with some of the glitter shades in here, so we'll see how that turns out. Should be a pretty quick look, actually, since there's a limited amount of things that I can do without really looking completely crazy. So I think I'm just gonna go into Chocolate Gold, which is the gold from the outside, and just work that in towards the middle. I may as well pack this in, because there's no way I'm ever going through the gold is the large pan, that's up here. There's no way I'm ever going through that just using it as a normal gold, because that is a lot of eyeshadow and not a color that I tend to use. I tend to go for more of like a green based gold than a yellow based gold, or even rose golds. Like just straight up gold doesn't tend to be my initial go-to. But I think for this it's gonna work. Also a little concerned about the pan sealing over, which I haven't had that issue with any of these shadows so far, so it's not likely that it's going to be a problem. Also, the air conditioning just kicked on, so hopefully that's not making too much background noise. I did also set a custom white balance, and I completely forgot that I did that, and I added a new light, so the white balance in this might be completely off, and the free editing software that I'm using does not have a way for me to adjust the white balance. So if you've been wondering why my white balance looks so bad, it's because if I don't get it right before I film, or if lighting changes at all while I'm recording, then I'm not able to fix it. Okay, so I'm just gonna use a different flat brush. I'm gonna use the Element Cosmetics, and I'm just gonna go into, I think I'm just gonna go into Rich Girl, which is the kind of goldy silver color, and see if I can get a reasonable blend of these two golds. This is definitely more difficult without having any kind of, like, they're still laying down pretty well considering that I have no sort of primer on whatsoever, and usually when I use these I'm using glitter glue, and this has not just 100% transferred to the top lid is sort of amazing, and that they're laying down so well, and with a brush. Like, I'm not even using my finger to put them on, I'm using a brush. So if you've wondered about the quality of these eyeshadows, they're amazing. I'm going to use a little bit of Cocoa Truffle, I think, and just go, which is that same color that I used for my eyebrows, and just go up here in the crease a little bit, just to give a little bit of a transition. Because this black is black enough that I feel like if I try to put that up there, it's just going to be really harsh. And especially, again, with not having any sort of like real eyeliner. And then I'm going to use the same brush that I used for my brows, and I'm going to go into, I'm actually going to go into Gold Dipped, which is more of like slightly green based gold. And then that is obviously going to be mixed with what is left on this brush of the Cocoa Truffle for my eyebrows, but I just want a little bit of something coming under here. Okay, so it's sparkly and pretty. I look slightly less crazy than I had expected to look at this point. I'm gonna try and use So Bougie, which is it's barely darker than my skin, but as kind of a blush. That worked okay. It's not a color I would normally use as a blush, but turned out alright. use a little bit on my chin. This is the perfect time for me to be having a breakout too, when I'm not able to use any concealer or anything with this look. Okay. So I am just going to see what I can do for lips, and we're gonna call this look done. So, I don't know. It's the first time I've ever tried to use eyeshadow as a lip product, so I don't know what's gonna be best to try and do that. I guess I'll just go back into that flat brush that I used for the golds. And where's my color switch? I'm gonna use my color switch to just clear off that shadow as much as possible. And what do I want to try to do here? I think I'm going to try Famous, which is this one here. It's a little more orangey, but it still has enough of the yellow base that I feel like it'll work okay. Okay, I need something darker than that. I am going to, how do I want to try to deepen this up? I'm going to go into Hala for Adala. It's like the old gold. I think we're going to call this craziness the end of this look, because it's not getting better. So here's my one palette. My eyes actually turned out okay despite not having any eyeliner or mascara on. I will probably wear these two golds together again as an actual look. The lips, I probably should have gone for like Dippin' Diamonds or something, but this is what I've got. I am ready for a shower and a nap, but I'm glad that I tried this. I think that I might try it again with maybe a different palette. I do have a new respect for these eyeshadows. Like they went on to the lids and the lips as well as they did, and they taste really good. It's not usually a quality I'm looking for in my makeup, but it tastes really good. So it's impressive that they work so well with no kind of primer. Anyway, I'm interested to see what looks other people come up with, so make sure that you leave me your Instagram down below if I'm not already connected with you on Instagram, or if you are on Instagram, tag me so that I can see. And I hope that everyone's having a good day.